Good morning, YouTube. Today I'm going to make a video that concentrate more on the panel box that I end up doing. Basically, it's an external giant fuse box, if you want to call it that. It's my power control that controls all of my new mods that I did so far. It's got a bit of room for expansion. So basically what it is when I actually started thinking about adding Rob's light, that was thinking, okay, how am I going to connect this? Now if you open the hood, I'll do this quickly here. As you can see here too, as I do this, you can tell that when I built my bumper lights, which are these lights there, again, I had one of the factor was to add the clearance to be able to take the panel off, which I'm doing now. Now by removing the side panel, okay, as you can see, Kubota's idea of a fuse box is that little thing right here. This. I mean, I don't have big hands, and it's the size of my finger. It's very small. It's got only room for, I think, 4 or 5 fuses, and one of them is a spare, or 2 of them are spare. There's absolutely no room to do anything here, to expand, really. Now, I did take this panel. There's room behind there, but it's also tight. I remove all this, which is fairly easy for anybody that's got a B2620. Pop the cap, unscrew the steering wheel. You have to unscrew this, and it's all clips. This will come out. As you can see, there's a line there. You got to sort of push on the outside of this clip in there. At first I was very gentle with it because I didn't know how to take it apart. I had never done it. But you got to push on that a little bit, and then you'll figure it on your own. The whole panel comes out. If you do want to remove it completely, you have to take that orange thing out of there. That pops out. I can't remember if it unscrews or just pops out. Try to unscrew first. So yeah, that allows you to get behind this. But again, not a whole lot of room. It's hard to get at as far as bringing any new wire into this or behind this. And the only option then is putting a switch on the side, and you can only position them certain areas. So I wasn't too keen on that. So then I thought, okay, why don't I do an external panel. Then I came up with this idea. Now I'm going to post a picture on the side here, top right, top left, whatever. Just show you what my process was. I actually started with a cardboard box. I don't know if, anyway, I'll pop the picture on there. I sort of sat it there, and then the second thing was, how am I going to mount it so that again, I didn't want to interfere with the loader, taking it off and on. Obviously, I got to get this pin out of there. I got to have clearance for my wire to come in, and I wanted to be able to remove the whole thing if I had to. Now, Kubota B series, the frame has a hole on both sides of this tube. It's a 1-inch hole. Well, not quite. I bored it to 1. I think it's a 7/8. But I had to come up with a little bit of an assembly. It's all together so you can't see. But to put a bolt in there, and I put some shimmies and stuff. And I put an external locker here so that it doesn't rock back and forth. So I can take this off and actually push it forward if I need to remove this to get myself a little more clearance. So it's fully adjustable that way. The other thing, because I wanted the panel, as you can see, as soon as I turn the key, the panel come live. And you can hear it there's a fan in there. Well, I'll open it. So this is all my wiring, so it's a pretty big mess in there, but there's a fan right there. Now this turns something on, switch. I put a light in there also in case I'm caught at night to check something, and just to add a little pizzazz to it. But because I wanted this to be on the switch, now Kubota gave us on the B series, there's two looms that were coming through this back light here. On if you're sitting on the tractor, it's on the right side, and it's directly underneath the fender. And I think the wires are coming, yeah, right here. Like there was a second set of wires in that loom that until you take it out, you don't know it's there. That second set of wires was for Rob's light, and it's hooked to the ignition. So you have in turn, if you want to not making sure that the lights are on all the time, every time you turn the key on, you got to put a secondary switch. Now this little panel here, this like people probably saw this, allows you to put a couple switch on here. That's a kind of a neat setup there, and it's easy access from under. So that panel was, I'm assuming, there for that purpose. And I've seen guys using that panel actually for switch on some of their tractor. But again, I didn't want to do that on my part. So, and I knew I was going to have, I got two backlight, I got my strobe light on top of that. I've got my front bar, I've got two lights at the front here, I've got a horn now, I've got a backup alarm I installed. So I got a lot of stuff coming into this, a lot of wires and stuff. And again, this little box wasn't going to do it for me. So I built this. Now, I know it's much bigger than what you need, but for the purpose, it works for me. Now, for anybody that's in the London area, in Ontario, I designed this box in SketchUp myself. I do a lot of my own design using a software, then I can test out stuff. So I wanted to test out space for different items. So I had bought like the fuse box, I bought the relay, I bought the fan and all that. And by measuring them, I could plan how I was going to install that in the box, which kind of gave me the size of the box I needed to, and still have some expansion. So I came up with this design. Think it's kind of cool. Let's make it look, beefy, and it doesn't interfere with anything. My pedal has full range of motion. Getting in and out of the tractor, again, that's wide open. That's this side. This never comes into play. I got more room here than I do with the arm on the other side. The loader arm is more interfering with anything. So this design I thought was pretty good. Gives me a lot of flexibility. Like I said, I can still bring wires in there. I got room to hook more stuff for any other mods. Like I've already got a switch on there for a winch that I'm going to be installing on the tractor. I want a winch system in case I do a lot of work with the loader and the backhoe on, but once in a while I take the backhoe off, and if I get stuck, I design my own quick attach at the back that I'm going to be able to slide in and lock in a winch system into the quick attach for the back if I have the loader on. Now if I happen to have the loader and the bucket off, I will also have a quick attach system at the front here that I'm going to fabricate to put at the front, so that will give me the option of putting a winch either at the front or the back, which will be controlled by this switch, my winch in and out, so I can still be sitting on the tractor while I'm winching. Now I know some of the winch system come with remote controls and stuff, or wired long enough that you could still sit or get out of the tractor and do it. But I want to be able to have the ability to control it from the tractor. And so as you can see, there's a little bit of intricate wiring in there. Electric wiring, as far as it comes to that kind of stuff, it's fairly easy. I mean, you have to think in terms of on-off. That's all it is. It's either on, it's either off. As you wire everything, you got to think that way. Maybe it sounds easy to me, but that's the way I look at it. So I didn't have much problem hooking all this up. There was a lot more planning coming up to this, like almost a year of planning by the time I've built all of my mods to come up to this. So I planned long enough that I knew it was going to work, and all my wiring is hidden with the black loom. Like you can't see any of it around. I mean, I've got it hidden pretty good, and it's, except this big one. A lot of wires goes into this box because it feeds several lights. And again, I got extra in there for expansion if I ever do something else. But yeah, so this is a quick look of my basically expanded giant fuse box. I even got a little pill collector that somebody gave me as a gag gift. I used it to put that's why I got the number of the fuse numbers. I got a bunch of extra fuse in there. Everything used mini fuse in here, so it makes it compact. I've never had to replace a fuse yet, but you never know. So that's a quick look at my panel. For anybody interested, or if you have any questions, just let me know. Thanks.